From 1990, the third part of the Inspector Wears Skirts series so far, also called Raid on Royal Casino Marine, was very different yet again. Now, this was one of those movies that I was warned about. People were like, be careful, part 3 is probably the worst of the series. It's something that's really not good. So I went into it very wary of what I was getting, but in all honesty, I kind of liked the movie we got here, even though it loses some of the better elements from the previous series. Madame Wu's character, Syllabelle, who is gone for majority of the film. She's there at the start. She appears later on at the back end of the film for the finale. For the most part, we get a condensed group of the skirts, some of the most familiar characters from the earlier movies. And of course, we get Officer Khan, the man who's kind of, well, he's going to take over the leadership, because they really take Madame Wu and just run her down to a housewife. That's all she is now. That is what her position is, and she's lost all of the edge that she had in the previous 2 films. And I can see that as being a real detraction from that series that we've had thus far, because she was such a strong character who led this team of female operatives, and now she's a doting housewife.
老公啊，冇見幾日，有冇掛住我啊？
梗係有啦，老婆。
Officer Ken is put in charge of the skirts and tasked with training them again, and he is, it must be said, the most un-PC character throughout this. Now, it's kind of fun seeing some of these comments because everything is just sanitized these days to a point, but to see a character that is so abrasive and just horrible with his language was, well, it was kind of interesting and funny to see how just off base this character was throughout the film.
需要女人點叻點霸道啊，咪又係俾男人騎。你哋成班都係低能弱智，天殘地缺。
For the most part, in the Inspector Wears Skirts Part 3, it was fine. It was never as good as the first 2 parts, but it wasn't as bad as what I was expecting. And when you get to the sort of final third of the movie, we go on to a cruise ship where there is gambling going on. It alludes to God of the Gamblers, the film, with the main character played by Chow Yun-fat there, played by a different character here. He kind of has that chocolate that he's always eating, and one of our characters ends up being confused as the God of Gamblers, ending up in a kind of crazy situation. But I appreciated that kind of nod and wink to another great film. I appreciated the different kind of tact that it went for at the end. It was funny and ridiculous at moments, but the final fight sequence when they're fighting the bad guys, and there is in fact a group of the girls fighting one of the bad guys, which is always great in these movies. It was entertaining and fun. Raid on the Royal Casino Marine, or the Inspector Wears Skirts 3, was again lesser than the other 2 movies. We are going kind of down every time. I am still happy to have watched it. It's still something I would throw on and watch again, much in the same vein that I would do with the Police Academy series, where I get less enjoyment as I move through the series, but I still kind of go back to most of them at some point. I get the familiar characters from the first one, which I really kind of like, you know, Amy Yip, Sandra Noon, these kind of characters that are just fun in this one. There are sillier moments, but there is some good action moments as well, and the chuckles kind of land some of the times. It just feels as it's a lesser budget, a lesser movie yet again, and as it has been reported to me being the worst of the series, if this is the worst, I can live with that. It's not the end of the world for me. I, had fun with the film. I would go back and watch it again. I've got one more to go, and I've got to say, although these aren't outstanding movies, I have enjoyed them all so far, and I'm kind of looking forward to rounding out the films with part 4 and hopefully I will get some enjoyment out of that one as well. As always, I would love to know your thoughts on the Inspector Wears Skirts Part 3. So let me know in the comment box below what you thought of this one, which I think seems to be a really divisive movie. So let me know your thoughts on this one. As always, there is more content up there. You can see more of my stuff. In the description box below are links to Patreon, membership program, and manvfilm.com. Always in which you can support me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.